So I've always had a really strong interest in reading texts in the original languages. And as a Buddhist, it's always been something I've always meant to do, is, for example, learn Tibetan, which I'd never done either. So when this opportunity came, it really appealed to me, just to, and I really hope to, I suppose, pick apart some of the real subtleties maybe of the Buddha's teachings, which can be very elusive and can be very easily misunderstood, which can throw us off track, I think, in terms of practice. So I guess even finding one area which becomes less elusive would be really helpful. So, and I'm also open to just seeing what emerges here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful, Christine. You're the right candidate for us, you know. Welcome.
Thank you.
Over to you, Keith. You are muted.
That's what my wife says. Right, my name is Keith Hawker. I currently live in southeast London in the UK. I've been on the Buddhist path for just over 50 years. And currently, in 50 years, as a Westerner, I've basically followed wherever I've found a good teacher, rather than adhere to one tradition despite what you could connect with. So I've got a taste of some different traditions, but I am in a Rinzai Zen tradition now, with Zen ways, under the guidance of Daizan Roshi. I am a lineage teacher in his tradition, and I'm a volunteer chaplain at Guy's and St Thomas's hospitals in central London. But as I'm 70 plus, I'm at the moment, because of COVID, having to provide whatever support I do through online, iPads and things like that. Why am I here? Because I met Sunil about 16, 17 years ago, something like that, when he came to the MOD, and I was there, and I find myself being a guinea pig in many of his aspiring projects. So, yeah. What do I hope to gain? I hope to gain a better appreciation of the breadth and depth behind some of the terminology in Buddhism. The classic example which I would give would be chitta, which is often translated to us guys in the West as mind. And for us Westerners, that goes rational thinking, discriminating mind. But of course, we've got this heart intuitive wisdom mind as well. And that sort of just passes most people by. So it's just one little example. If one could appreciate some of those nuances for us in the West, then that's great. So that's really what I'm about. I'm not really trying to learn Pali.
Wow, that's great. That makes my life easier, Keith. Okay, over to you, Julia.
Me?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't realize there are. Yeah, let's start with Julia Manet. Am I pronouncing your
it's
name right?
Manet.
Okay. Yeah.
So I am studying Bachelor in Religious Studies and Theology in Amsterdam University. And when I signed up for it, I wanted to be on a Buddhist track, but they discontinued it when I was already signed up, and I thought I'm gonna study Buddhism and have Buddhist courses. So this academic year, I started focusing more on Buddhism, and I was introduced to Theravada tradition, and I think this course follows it and explains and builds on it. And I also wanted to deepen my knowledge about Buddhist rituals, so I hope I will gain it. Yeah, so I think that's it.
Oh, that's lovely, Julia. One thing is, please don't be pushed back by these experienced people around. I mean, when you see some of these 50-year experience of Dharma, that should scare, should never scare you. Okay, so we will challenge them. We'll challenge them in this course. So welcome to the course, Mikhail. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Mikhail. I'm a student of philosophy on VU at the third year. So I'm overall interested in in Buddhist philosophy. Actually, I got into it after the Buddhist studies minor that I just finished, and it just resonated with me, the philosophy, the Buddhist philosophy. I just finally found the philosophy that is like makes more sense and is more pragmatic and not just about making up concepts that doesn't really lead to anywhere. So I signed up for that course, but also I wanted to learn Pali, and like Keith said, to have better understanding of concepts, because exactly the chitta, it's just not a mind in a way. It's just something more than, well, in the West we think as mind. And so for us, like a scholarly perspective for my future studies after the bachelor, I hope, well, that learning like canonical Buddhist language will help me with gaining understanding of that.
Wonderful. Welcome to the course. Yeah. Over to you. Am I pronouncing it right? Please forgive me if I pronounce your names wrong. Lucien.
Hello. Yeah, Lucien, I say, but you can also pronounce it in the French way if you like, Lucien. But I'm not French. I'm Dutch. I'm living in the center of the Netherlands, small village. I've been studying Zen for some 20 years now. Of course, that's a lot of meditation, but also the Zen has its own literature. And the Zen has its own view on Buddhism, if you ask me. And I think it's about time for me to get a bit more to the source. And what better way than through the original language, if possible. So something like that. I've been teaching also, maybe it's nice to say, but I've also been teaching mindfulness for a few years now. And I'm guiding a Zen meditation group here in our village. So I'm also starting teaching a bit in Buddhism, and therefore I like to do it as well as possible, as good as possible. So that's a motivation for me.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome, Lucien.
Yeah, thanks.
What made me think, did you have any connection with the Plum Village tradition at all?
No, although you must know Joan Halifax Roshi, I suppose.
Yeah.
She's the teacher of my teacher. So,
right, okay.
So we have a little bit of Plum Village or Thich Nhat Hanh blood in our lineage, because Joan Halifax also studied with Thich Nhat Hanh, but officially we're not in his line. We're in the Soto Zen line.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I mean, in the UK, we have 843 different centers, 18 traditions, and of course, mixed blood is always welcome. Yeah. All right. So welcome to the course. Arthur Mitra.
Hello. Yes, my name is Arthur Mitra. I got this name in 1999 when I was ordained in the Triratna Buddhist order. Yeah, and I'm practicing Buddhism since 1987, and I'm teaching at the Buddhist Center in Amsterdam, and every now and then I lead retreats. And why I do this course, because I think mainly because I want to get a better understanding of the Buddha's teaching, and I think that's the main point. But also, I'm just curious to know more about the Pali language. And I recently heard that it's almost quite sure that the Buddha himself actually did speak Pali language. I think and previously it was sort of thought that he used another language, but recently they found out that it's quite likely that he spoke Pali. So even therefore, it's quite excited to know more about it. And so and then that's also what I hope to gain from it. So to have a deeper understanding of the teaching of the Buddha. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Welcome, Adamitra. Professor B was, nodding the Sri Lankan way, disagreeing or agreeing. I'm sure.
That is of course not true. There's been one article published which is not very well researched, and the community opinion is still that the Buddha spoke Magadhi. And Pali is very clearly, for those of us who work with the Pali canon and with the language, is very clearly a literary language that is artificially conceived from different parts of Prakrit, and have some are older, some are younger texts, and there are different layers to the language. I read this article, I found it completely unconvincing. So for me, nothing has changed. Somebody who's been teaching and studying and teaching Pali for more than 20 years and reading Pali texts, it's pretty clear that this is simply not the case. Pali is a literary language conceived for the canonization and the simplification of the Buddha Dharma, when the different Prakrits were still almost communally intelligible, but still different. And you would know, and if you look at the Pali Gathas, the poetry of the different dialect forms that you find in the text, is very clear it's an artificial language, artificial literary language. But anyway, so I'm sure that Dr. Sunil will explain these things. When you go to India, we'll have people always telling you, oh yeah, this is a Brahmi scripture of Emperor Ashoka, and that's in Pali, and Pali was the language the Buddha spoke. And there is almost everything wrong with this statement. So don't believe that.
All
anyway,
right.
Sorry for hijacking you, Dr. Sunil.
Don't worry. It makes the course more interesting. And this is exactly what we will collectively explore. And but remember, we will challenge you, okay? So this is exactly why we need to actually collectively learn and reflect. And the Buddha says, I don't ever trust language. He said, I use the language for a purpose. So long as we get to the meaning, yeah. So we will explore what exactly Buddha tells us about language as well. So excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Over to you, Sumedha.
Hello everyone. Sumedha from Sri Lanka, and I'm a research student in the University of Pennsylvania. I'm from originally from Galle, southern part of Sri Lanka, but I'm joining from Kandy, the central province of Sri Lanka. And what I wonder about the Pali language is it's very complicated when we deeply analyze the terms used in the Tipitaka. As an example, Dhamma. So Buddha has used the Dhamma, the term, in the different places with the different meanings. So I wonder, we need to have a deep knowledge about the terminology to understand what it really means. So that's why my intention of joining this program with as the pioneer in this area, in this subject area, the Professor Sunil Kariyakarawana. So I'm very fortunate about this. I mean that all of us, right, fortunate to learn from and under the guidance of him. Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, Sumedha, thank you and welcome to the course. Over to you, Julie.
Hello, so my name is Julie. I also reside in the Netherlands. I'm also a student at the VU, but I am in the post-academic or the postmaster track in order to become a Buddhist chaplain. And I study I train in a Soto Zen lineage. And I guess I've been finding that, that our training or our practice in my lineage is just so enriched when the more I engage with both with the study of the textual study and the academic study of Buddhism, and also when I engage with the Theravada teachings. And so I feel that it's really important to build that bridge. And I just find myself loving the Pali Canon and just feeling drawn to it. So what I hope to gain is to deepen that love and to be a little bit less foolish maybe when I approach these topics.
Absolutely. That's wonderful, Julie. And welcome to the course. And definitely we will be less foolish after this course. Yeah, definitely. I can assure you that. Over to you, Venerable. Venerable Vijitasiri is connecting from Sri Lanka. Probably it is close to midnight over there, isn't it? Yeah. And you look so fresh, you know. I probably won't last that long the day. Yeah. Over to you, Venerable.
Hello everyone, I am Vijita Siri from Sri Lanka. I'm a lecturer at University of Kelaniya in Sanskrit. These days I am doing my MPhil. My subject area is Mahayana Buddhism and Vedanta philosophy, especially Sankaracharya and Mahayana Buddhism. And what I here is I have studied Pali at my little age in the monastic studies, but I think this course will helpful for me as a researcher for my further research. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, it is teaching Pali to a Sanskrit scholar may not be an easy task, but I will give it a go, okay? Very good, Venerable. It's a blessing to have Venerable monks as well. So over to you, Lola.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lola. I study at the Vrije Universiteit as well, doing the Buddhism track. And since a week ago or so, I've heard from Henk Blazer, a teacher at the Vrije Universiteit, that this course was going on, which was very pleasant surprise for me, because I've been searching for a way to learn Pali for a while, but I couldn't find any like university in Holland teaching it. So it's very nice that now it's in my own university. Yeah, and I've been doing Sanskrit or learning Sanskrit for a while. And yeah, I'm just generally interested in Buddhism, everything to do with Buddhism and its languages. So that's why I'm here.
Wonderful. Welcome, Lola. That is really very impressive to have, people who studied Sanskrit and also interested in Buddhism. Welcome. Bhanthe Walasmulle. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Hello, everyone. I am Venerable Walasmulle Bhaddiya from Sri Lanka. Currently, I am working as a lecturer at University of Kelaniya. My subject area is Buddhist philosophy. Actually, I was guided by my dear Sumedha Viraj. He guided me to join this course. Otherwise, I would miss this course actually. I would pay my gratitude for him as well, Professor Sunil Kariyakarawana, for giving me this opportunity to join this course. I would like to to understand especially about the philosophical ideas by studying this course with the support of Pali language. Earlier, I thought this would be a course which teach Pali language, but later I could understand, could get to know. And this is a very helpful guidance to investigate about canonical literature. Therefore, I am very happy to join here. Thank you very much, sir.
Wonderful, Venerable. Welcome to the course. No, it's a privilege to have you rather than, you don't have to thank us for that, and probably we'll have to thank you for joining the course. So welcome. Mariette, am I pronouncing the name right?
I don't know how you can see me.
We can't see you actually.
Oh, you can see me. Okay. I'm Mariette. I'm living in the Netherlands. Like Lola, I'm also studying Buddhism at the university in Amsterdam. My interest is in Theravada Buddhism. 2 times in a week, Friday and Sunday, I have 2 hours lesson, metta meditation from a nun from Burma. And every morning I have mindfulness lesson from a teacher from Thailand. And the nun from Burma, she said that it's not easy to translate Pali in English. So it's better to studying Pali than to try to translate every word. So that's why I'm here.
Wonderful. Welcome, Mariette.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Venerable Dhammarathana from Nevada, he just had his breakfast and we are getting ready for our dinner, So, Venerable Dhammarathana is my resource person. This course has actually two sides to it. One is the theory part, and the other one is practical. And we want to actually have a direct experience as to how we chant. We chant and we recite and etc. So a traditional chanting. I invited Venerable Dhammarathana to give us a really beautiful chanting. So probably before I get to Professor B, can I invite you to just do the like the invitation to the deities, Venerable Dhammarathana?
Yes. Hi everyone. Dear Professor Sunil Kariyakarawana and everyone, UV Amsterdam Pali courses first, lesson first. I'm chanting Theravadic traditional, some special gatha today. That is very power blessings. This gatha, okay? Sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada sacitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanang. Say sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much. This is, we can really enjoy this course. Don't ever think this is an academic course. You will just have fun and credit, credit at the end. Don't let Professor B hear this. Yeah. So we could have just really fun and, get the credit at the end. So actually, I must say, Professor B, this is his vision. And he thought that actually having a Pali course connected to the text would be a wonderful idea. And so he invited me to do this. And I actually salute your vision and your, try our best to actually achieve that. And I think what I really have seen is I'm not going to praise you at all, and especially being not taking Pali as the source language of the Buddha. So probably we will have to challenge you on that. And he loves to be challenged. And I think I'm very honored to have you as our chair. And probably Professor B can formally welcome all of you and say a few words about the background of this course and probably future vision. Over to you, Professor B.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. So welcome everybody. Very happy to see you all. I'm chair of Buddhist Studies and rector of the Buddhist Seminary here at the Freie Universität. It's indeed one of my great wish since my appointment to add language training to our programs. I don't have the hour to do that, but I was fortunate enough to be able to appoint Dr. Sunil as a part-time lecturer for us, and he has the hours, so he can do it. And he brings with him a very lived tradition background in, I see somebody is, that's you, Sunil, okay. A lived tradition background in not only Pali training, but connecting it with the concepts. So that's exactly what I like. I still wanted, of course, especially those of you who come from the university and do it for extra credits and so, of course, you need to take it serious. But taking something serious is not a contradiction to having fun with. We can take something serious and fun. And I say that with humor, having grown up in Germany, where playing a game is a very serious thing, you know. So, but anyway, yeah, so my background is a philologist. I studied Indology and Tibetology. I worked with Pali texts, Sanskrit texts, Tibetan texts, and I also worked with the Chinese parallels of the Pali Canon, and with classical Chinese and with Japanese texts. So I'm through and through a linguist, philologist, and I find it really important that we do not appropriate a tradition without diving deeper, going deeper. We cannot study really Buddhism to any sort of depth if we cut ourselves off from the linguistic, the language transmission that you have in the original sources. And that is something that is in modernist Buddhism outside Asia very often a source for confusion. So I'm thanking you that you want to address this confusion. Myself, I'm an authorized teacher in the Tibetan tradition, but I've been invited to Theravada centers as well, and Zen centers, and I'm leading retreats ecumenically. So I always like the combination of textual and contextual hermeneutics or interpretation with praxis. And this is one of the things that I'd asked Dr. Sunil also. Let us ponder the language and the words and the wisdom contained in the words and in the context and the application that we need to practice. And so I'm very happy that Dr. Sunil found a great resource and somebody authentically can chant in the Theravada tradition. Now, I knew in the Theravada tradition there are these statements that of a strict division between monastics and lay people should never lead rituals, for instance. Now, in other traditions, there is a blurred line between who is a lay person and who is a monastic. For instance, I am not keeping Vinaya vows, but I am Tantrika. In my tradition, this is a higher ordination. So higher vows that I have to keep. So you have priests in the Zen, we have Zen people here who are clerics or who have a clerical tradition or non-celibate priesthood. We have the Bhikkhu Grihasthas in the Nevar Vajrayana tradition, and so on. So we have a huge variety in Buddhism, and so it's very, very nice that we can zoom in on one tradition. And I would just caution or ask you all for keep in mind that we are now studying, or you are embarking a study in a very specific tradition with their own ramifications. And that there is a huge world to detect in the diversity of Buddhism, and I hope that that you will have good discussion, that you will challenge Dr. Sunil when he says the Buddha talk instead of early Buddhist texts say, because that is what we should be saying as academics. Know what the Buddha taught, yeah, we have no idea, but we know we have early texts, so we should say, well, early Buddhism teaches this and so on. And then if he says early Buddhism and he doesn't quote the Chinese parallels to the Pali text, you should also challenge it, right? Because this is just the Stavira Vada tradition that is reflected in a very specific subsect of the Theravada that have commented upon the Sthaviravada canon and so on. So be clear in which places you're discussing. Always try to go for the most differentiated, most complex view. And one part of that is to embark engaging with language. So, and I know that Dr. Sunil, from his education as a linguist, is actually very well placed to explain certain concepts, linguistic concepts. I hope you all learn a little bit of Pali. Those of you who learn Sanskrit, you will see it's very easy, a little bit Sanskrit. I mean, how we trained in Germany in Indology, we learned Sanskrit, and then when it was in Pali, we were just given a sutta to read and a grammar. And if we couldn't hack that, then we failed. So it is. So if you had Sanskrit, then that's very good. If you don't despair. I'm sure that Dr. Sunil will be able to explain some of the difficult things in the grammar, and mainly in the meaning, because that's what we're here for. We're here for the meaning and for the application. So I wish that you go on a really nice journey here. For me, this is part of a test. From next year onwards, I will offer this course more officially to students if it is a success. And I hope then that we get more hours and more funds for me, or for Hank, or for Dr. Hank, or for me, or for Dr. Sunil, and so on, to teach more in the languages. I would love to teach Sanskrit and Buddhist Chinese and Tibetan, but these things need to be built up step by step. So we start with Pali now, and I hope you are pioneers, yeah? So you should feel excited, like pioneers, excited to meet the Dhamma in this raw form. Maybe not exactly how the historical Buddha, but very close, very close. All the Prakrits are very, very close, and who knows, maybe we can have another class where we read some Prakrit Dhammic texts, Gandhari, Patna, Prakrit, Pali, maybe some Sanskrit ones next to each other. We have that in the Dhammapada, for instance, or Dhanavarga is there in multiple in the Indic languages. You can read next to each other and can actually see how close and yet so far sometimes they are away, especially if we take the 3 or 4 Chinese translations also into consideration, early translation, and see what happens. I digress. You see, I'm a typical Dharma teacher and professor, the worst combination ever. 2 people talk all the time, and digress. Also little old am I. So I'm a little old. So I'm also three terrible things. Yeah, talk a lot. I stop now, and I leave you also be. So no need to be intimidated anymore. Yeah. So I know Mikhail knows me, Julie knows me from the classes. Who else did I have in my classes? Yeah. So you all know, very intimidated person. So soon I'm gone, and then you can relax and have fun, Dr. Sunil. Very nice to meet you, and all the best. Blessings from my side. Savamangalam.
Thank you, Professor B. We will still enjoy when you are around. Okay, don't worry.
That's okay. I just gave you the traditional Tibetan blessing, and with that, I'm gone. Bye bye. All the best.
Thank you. Oh, that makes it easier, so we can relax now and enjoy. Okay. Wonderful. So let me actually tell you a few nuts and bolts of this course. Actually, one is actually what we will do. We will have. I mean, it is 2.5 hour course. I never teach a course longer than 1 hour. But if I fall asleep, just wake me up, okay? And so it is, what we will do is we'll spend 1 hour and then we will take a 15 minutes comfort break. Yeah. So, and then we will actually do a bit of practical, sort of, theory is one thing and then the practical is another. So, I hope you can still stay awake from those who are joining from Sri Lanka and so on. If not, we will actually give you a coffee, really thick coffee so that you cannot sleep. Okay. So that's how we want to proceed. As I told you, this is a text that we have actually kind of prescribed, but we are not going to stick to that at all. I mean, this is an experimental course. As Keith said, I always go by my own intuition. Actually, both of these authors are my teachers. When I was at Cornell, they used me to put this in the computers. So I thought, I mean, that's a really good piece of work in terms of thinking how to go about learning Pali and learning Dhamma at the same time. But again, I'm not going to go by lesson or anything like that. I'm just doing it the other way around. I just sort of pick out the Dhamma points, and then through that, we learn some Pali. And if you are not a Pali scholar at the end of this course, don't be worried. Yeah. So because Pali is the language of the Dhamma, and it's not for speaking. It is not for listening. It is just for reading and understanding. So which makes it a sort of a dead language, or sort of a language which it's not alive. It is not spoken language. So therefore, our focus is mainly on the meaning aspect. So that's how we want to go about it. But I'm always open, and if you think I should think differently, please feel free. So this is not a very rigid course. It's all my teaching and all my courses are driven by the participants. Yeah. So I get into the car, and wherever they want to go, you will be behind the wheel. Okay. So this is called collective learning rather than one-way teaching. Mostly the problem with teaching is, if every time I try to teach you, I'm actually cheating you, because Dhamma learning is totally different, utterly different from, other types of learning. So therefore, it is intuitive learning. The Buddha said the wisdom or insight comes from 3 different sources. One is called Suttamaya, the listening, and Chintamaya, reflecting, and Bhavanamaya. Bhavanamaya is kind of meditative. That doesn't really mean, meditation. I mean, this idea of meditation in the West is a strange one. You will later realize, you know, that really does not encompass the entire gamut of, you know, Buddhist meditation. So we explore those, you know, nitty-gritty details of these words like bhavana, bhavana, where, you know, that is the word for meditation in Pali, bhavana. It comes from the root bhu. Bhu is to cultivate. Yeah. So, so therefore, this is a different kind of class, and if you like it, we can collectively make it meaningful. If you don't like it, still I want you around, because just make suggestions, okay? Well, how you would like to explore it together. So what I hope to do is perhaps would you want to take a 5 minutes break before we start the lesson? Yeah, would that be a good idea? Excellent. So let's take 5 minutes break and come back 5 past. Okay. Okay, folks, welcome back. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So let's have a bit of a closer look at what another somebody has joined in. Is it Udara? Udara, are you there?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, doctor.
All right. Okay. Okay. Don't call me doctor. They will, you know, be scared. So just can you put the camera on, or do you want to stay?
Actually, I haven't fixed the camera. I have a separate.
Okay. No worries.
I'll fix it later. Okay, sure.
Yeah. No
Okay.
worries. So,
Okay.
you know, Udara is also. Do you want to introduce yourself briefly, please?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm a postgraduate student at University of Dundee, doing a reading for psychological conversion. Plus, earlier I was a counselor and a psychotherapist, and as well as I have done work related to mindfulness in Sri Lanka. Yes, over to you, Dr. Sunil.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Udara. Welcome to the course. As you may have actually read the details in this course, I mean, I think you have a pretty good idea as to the direction of the course. So we are sort of exploring the Dhamma through the Pali language. You know, in one of his teachings, the Buddha said, language is elusive. Language actually does not necessarily enable one to express meaning in the ultimate sense. So I'm going to share the little note about what we wrote in this course is so basically, you know, this course provides the rare opportunity to learn, understand, and reflect on the key Buddhist principles and practice through learning the exact words of the Buddhist teaching in the Pali language. So at the end of the course, you know, it should empower you, equip and empower students in, you know, Buddhist theory. So language is for a purpose rather than sort of developing the skill of the language. Like, you know, language is for communication purposes. But in this particular case, we use language for, you know, understanding the meaning rather than, you know, trying to convey our meaning. so there is a difference. I mean, it's for us to be able to understand the meaning that the Buddha and the enlightened beings, imparted or, said. So, and that is a different process rather than trying to add our meaning to that language. Yeah. So therefore, the real purpose of this course, is getting into the meaning. So I just actually put a few goals here. So there are actually the same meaning has been expressed through different languages, like instead of Pali being one. We can of course argue whether it is the language that the Buddha spoke or not. Yeah. And that's a different matter. But that has been conveyed in Pali, Sanskrit, Chinese, Tibetan, Japanese, now in English now. So now I will actually show you one example where when we actually try to translate something, what happens is we actually lose meaning altogether. Somebody, a translator, said, if you're trying to translate a meaning, you are a traitor. You are a traitor because, trying to translate something is like trying to smell a flower which is inside the glass seal casket. Can you smell a flower from outside? You will never get the fragrance of the flower. So this translation business is a tricky one. So let me actually show you something that I have collected. I have a full collection of translation errors. I'll give you an example. Let me share the screen for a second. Now if I say the Buddha says now the form, the Pali word for form is rupa. And let's say rupang, netang, mama. Yeah. The Buddha says rupam. Rupa means actually form, F-O-R-M. Netang means not. Mama is mine. Okay. Form, not mine. But you in English you can't say that. In English, the only way you can say that is what, let's say, yeah. Yeah, this is the only way that you can say that in English. So you really do have to have, this this part, this is always, it has to be there. So rupang netang mama is, form not mine, is translated as, form is not mine. But when you say, can anybody tell me what is wrong with this translation? Any idea?
Yeah, I can say something. It might be other way around, like I am not form.
Okay.
That's an assumption that you keep the order.
Yeah. Mm. What do you exactly mean, Lucien? Oh, sorry. Who is Lucien. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, maybe the meaning is I'm not form. I don't know if that's a possible correct translation.
It is like I'm not form. And that's another way of looking at it. Okay, but there is another serious flaw here.
Yeah. I think, Professor, if we use is, it means a kind of existence is there.
Exactly. So, yeah. Now that is now this form. When you say form is not mine, you are basically you are basically saying there is a form. Yeah, there is a form. Sorry. There is a sorry. This thing, I'm not used to this. So there is a form. I think I have got the wrong thing. So there exists a form, but that form is not mine. Yeah. You are subscribing to a, this has actually two sentences. The two sentences are, one is there is a form, but that form is not me or mine. So, without subscribing to the eternalism or without subscribing to the existence of something, you can't form the sentence. Now, even if you just say, I am not form, then I exist, but I have nothing to do with that form. So the form and me separately exist. Do you get me?
That's not necessarily so, I think. It could also be an equation.
Yeah.
You equate form to me. Then it's not an existence.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, every time you make an equation, isn't it the case? I mean, I'm not a native speaker of English, but I do get the intuition that there is no way that you can deny the existence here when you translate that into English. Is there? Yeah. So, but the Buddha, in Pali, that is totally, totally negated. Okay. So let me get another one. Okay. Let me get another one. Sorry, my yeah. So let's take another example. Okay. Yeah. Another example is Rupam Attato Sama no Pasati. So can you read my writing? Okay. again, rupa means form. Atta means, self. Samanupasati is see. Yeah. So form, self, see. And this is the standard, problem of the eternalism or Sakaya Ditti, existentiality. So, form, self, see. Actually, again, the English translation is form is seen as self. I mean, that is absolutely fine. And this is the wrong view. That is micchaditti. Wrong view is rupang attato samanupassit. You see, somebody who forms the view is, in four ways about the form. Either say rupang attato samanupassati, or rupavantang va attanang, attani va rupang, or rupasming attana. I mean, those are four ways of the form. Feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So now, in every case, when you say rupang attato samanupassati, now that's the ordinary person's view. Every time you see a form, you accept it. It is not, when you accept it, the self is already formed. Yeah. But how do you, I mean, if you want to negate this sentence, rupang attato samanupassati, if you want to negate, say this is not the case, how do you negate this? I know there are a few Pali and Sanskrit scholars already here. Could you tell me, I mean, can somebody actually tell me how to negate this? Convey the opposite meaning. Do you know negation?
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. So the negation can go, go here, na. When you put na, it actually negates the predicate. As a part of the predicate. Actually, it is, the predicate is this part. Now, you call subject and predicate, right? Now that part is predicate and this is subject, okay? This is subject and this is predicate. So you can actually negate this sentence either at the, at the verb level. Now this is the verb, right? Or the whole predicate. And you can, just put a na here. By negating it, I mean, this is exactly how the language operates. You negate the predicate, right? Or you can actually negate the whole proposition. Now, this is the whole proposition, okay? So you can actually negate this in 3 different places. So either you can say rupang attato nasamanupasati, or you can say rupang na attato samanupasati, or narupang attato samanupasati. Are you with me? Yeah. So you can actually negate the sentence at 3 different levels. In the Dharma language, if you see the Mahavedal or Chulla Vedal Sutta, Dhammadinna, it says, somebody who does not have the wrong view always, get this full negation, negation from here, na, right? Not. So narupang attato samanupasati, rather than say rupang attato nasamanupasati. When you say rupang attato nasamanupasati, what you do is you are actually accepting the existence of the form. It is just like form is, but that form is not identified as me. Yeah. Now that is problematic in the Dhamma, in the Dharmic context. Are you with me so far? Hopefully. I mean, if you are not, please put your hand up. We will discuss it further. Okay. So
I'm not entirely with you.
Oh, you're not entirely
Dr.
with me.
Sunil.
That's great.
No.
That's okay. Yeah. So okay. Can I just sort of re-explain it? Okay. One is when you actually put a negation, the scope of the negation can be either on the verb, on the predicate, or on the whole proposition. Now, it is just like saying, John is a good teacher. And you can actually say, John is a good teacher, and you can actually negate it at the three different places. Either teacher, John is not a good teacher. Or you can say, no, John is a good teacher. When you negate the whole proposition, you cannot find any John who is a good teacher. Do you understand? Yeah. So basically, what language does is, language always assumes the existence of something. Existence of something, and you have to be, you cannot use a language without assuming that. And that is why, equational sentence, like, John is a teacher, has to be there. But in Pali language or in some other, Indic languages, including Sinhala, you don't have to have that copula verb. Yeah. So anyway, if you don't follow me, don't worry too much. So basically, I'm actually trying to, okay, Atamitra.
Can I ask you something? So
yes,
how then would you explain or translate Rupang Attato Samanupasati?
Okay, excellent question. Yeah. So how do you Rupang Attato Samanupasati, when it is as a wrong view, form identified me, and that's actually ambiguous in it. Inside that sentence there are several meanings, but what we really want is the opposite of it. The Buddha says, if you identify self in form, then that, so the sorry, gosh, what happened? Okay, so are you with me? Yeah. So I think this is my computer glitch. So Rupang Attato Samanupasati. Now that is, the Buddha says, that is the fundamental sorry.
My screen got blocked, got fixed. You were fixed, and I didn't understand you.
Oh, sorry. Let me, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Now you all you all can see my screen, can you not?
Yeah, it's fine now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Which one do I choose here? Oh. This is the first time I'm using this this thing. So basically what I'm trying to say here is Rupang Attato Samanupassati is when you translate that, in English, you have to subscribe to an existence, whereas in Pali you don't. Because in Pali, the copula B is not present. For an English sentence to be, right, you have to have the copula B word. Whereas in Pali, no. So we actually, therefore, we make this mistake. The mistake we make is we actually say two things in one sentence. Form is, but you don't identify that as me. Yeah, so what you do is you are trying to remove yourself from the form, but still the form is there. So long as the form is there, the subtle self is always there. Do you understand? But this is what if you don't understand, don't worry too much, because what I'm actually trying to do here is to show some examples of translation. So this is why we need to get to the source. In what I try to do here is now actually show in most of these translation errors. Can be like conveying additional meaning or absence of the expected meaning. Issues that need to be considered in translation and interpreting, an idea. So if the purpose of language is to convey meaning, language is used for that purpose. So in translation, if you lose that, if you miss that, that's a bit of a problem. Do you understand? Yeah. So now, that's just an example I wanted to show you, but there are few other questions now. Why bother about the original text? Are you not able to understand the meaning through the translation? I would say no. I have all the translations of Pali canon, but I'm actually, I must say, they are so translations can be very misleading. So for that, you have to know the construct of the language. If the construct of the language is already known, and then you might find a way out. Okay. So another thing, how does text and context matter? Sometimes the context it can be very elusive as well. So let me see if I could find a way. There's a context. Like say there are different contexts. The words are being used in different contexts, and the meaning does not really come out properly. So I'll come to that with some examples later on. Contextual meaning can be misinterpreted. So therefore we got to be really careful. And this is why we need to actually smell the flower out of the box. Okay. So so in this, what I was trying to do is not to actually jump into the deepest end, but just to give you a feel of the type of reasons why we need to get to the source language. So we will learn little bit of Pali. Okay, when I say little bit of Pali, what I mean is you will have to do a bit of work yourself if you are really keen to get to Pali proper. Bhikkhu Bodhi teaches this whole course actually. He has that in the Bodhi Monastery website. If you go to, I have given you the link. Yeah, if you open that link, you can get to the that, and the lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the recordings are there, and he actually teaches Pali. But what he doesn't teach, that is what I want to do, because I don't want to repeat exactly what he's doing. I can actually take you through the Pali lessons here, because these are the lessons that I typed myself in the text, when I was a student at Cornell. So, both of these are my teachers. But that is a boring job. And somebody like Keith will say, don't do that. So rather, what I would like to do is to actually pick out some themes from this. Now, again, I can give you an example here. So the themes like this. Let me see. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's look at this. The theme, there are two words about world. Let's take Dhamma and Dharma. Do you know the difference between the two, Dhamma and Dharma? One is with a capital D, and the other one is with a simple D. Anybody wants to say anything about the difference between that, simple D and the capital D?
Is it Dhamma with the capital meaning truth, and Dhamma with not with the capital as a teaching? Is that?
Well, actually, the teaching should be truth, rather than the other way around, isn't it? So actually Dhamma, with a simple is phenomena. Phenomena is Dhamma, Loka Dhamma. When you say Loka Dhamma, worldly phenomena, right? But whereas the Dhamma with capital, it means actually the teaching. It is how that phenomena is expressed in the teachings. Yeah. So, and then, you have the Lokiya Dhamma, the worldly Dhammas, phenomena in the world, and then Lokuttara Dhamma. Lokuttara Dhamma is actually transcending the world, and the Buddha never wanted to keep us stuck in the world. So all the senses, now see the our five senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, the tactile body, and the mind. Now this is called salayatan, cha ayatan, cha, six senses, right? And actually Buddhism is talking about beyond the six senses. Yeah. So which actually takes you out of the six senses. So we are literally talking about the seventh sense. Somebody who actually has penetrated into the teaching, the Buddha says the person has aroused the sixth sense, which is the insight, which is the panya chaksusa, the prajna. Yeah, and that is called ananyata nyasa mitindriya. The one who really attained Aryan teaching, is called the one who really has developed the seventh sense. Yeah. So jnana, jnana, Nya is to know, that can be actually of two different types. Vijanana, vijanati. Vijanati is to know through the senses. Like say, if you recognize somebody through the eye, that is called vijanana. Sanjanana. Now, the Pali language is used like that, sanjanana and vijanana, when it is done through the senses. Whereas when it is done through the seventh sense, the Lokuttara Dhamma, it is called abhijna, abhijan, parijan, right? So therefore, Pali language is used very carefully. I mean, especially in the Mula Pariyaya, in the Majjhima Nikaya, very first sutra, which when that teaching was given, the monks were very unhappy. Even at the end of the sutra says that is the only sutra where the monks were very disappointed because they couldn't understand. Yeah. So and that kind of vijanana, sanjanana is through the ordinary sense, whereas this is through the wisdom eye. Okay. So and the right view, for example, is also of two types: mundane right view. It is called sasava punya bhagiya upadhivepaka. Now people talk about the right view in Eightfold Noble Path starts with the right view. But the right view is of two types. One is mundane, the other one is supramundane. And the supramundane right view is anasava lokuttara magganga. Yeah, so it is very clearly stated. So the language, the Buddha has never mixed up the language. So he has been very specific, precise in articulating the Dhamma teaching. And the other one is sati. Sati is another case, mindfulness. Everybody talks about mindfulness these days, but I don't know if anybody understands mindfulness, because we could actually, I'm sure there are many who understand it. So can anyone tell me a problem with the mindfulness that we are actually talking about? Let me just stop share and see your faces. Okay. Any because this is not one-way teaching. I want your responses. Okay. Okay. So what is the biggest problem with the mindfulness movement, especially the secular mindfulness, if any?
I would say it's treated in isolation from the Eightfold Path, where it's only one of the 8 paths.
Exactly. Any more responses? Yes, Mikhail.
I think it's focused on self-development, so it is treated as some form of like enhancement of life, to get better at life, or like do things like still focusing around the self in a way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Christine wants to say something.
Yeah, I think the definition of mindfulness has now it's been adopted almost as a dictionary definition of mindfulness. So it's played out in so many different ways and has become a buzzword, like Keith said, which is totally removed from anything to do with the original teachings, and has become somewhat of a tool that somebody can take out a kit bag.
Yeah.
And, you know, like a piece of Lego, let's use, and of course, my deepest concern is that through that misuse, there are so many who are deprived of the real benefit of genuine mindfulness training.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, to add a little bit more to what you said about the definition, like pay attention to the present moment, on purpose, non-judgmentally. Yeah. So, I mean, isn't that a judgment in itself, you know? Yeah. So when you say the present moment, it is a judgment in itself. So, and I think that this is the problem, but you know, this is not to discourage people practicing mindfulness. So this is why the Buddha says in the Vibhanga Sutta, in the Samyutta Nikaya, the connected discourses, where the Buddha says mindfulness is of 2 types. One is this mundane, secular mindfulness, you know, like, you know, of course, you know, when you are brushing your tooth in the morning, your brush goes one direction and the mind is on the other direction. And, you know, bringing the two together is a great thing to do. And it's a, you know, praiseworthy effort. But the problem is that shouldn't be right mindfulness. Should not be mistaken as the right mindfulness. So I am here now. People think, oh, that is, I am very mindful. Yeah. Yeah. So, so when the Buddha uses sati, sato sampajano, you know, and you know, even before you do the breathing meditation, the Buddha says, so satova asasati. You know, he breathes with mindfulness. Okay. You know, but there, if you don't know what sato means, what sati means, you know, you are on the wrong track, isn't it? Sumedha wanted to say something.
Yeah, Professor. I believe that you want to say something like that. Be mindful. The mindfulness driven with right view. Kind of sometimes the people have, as you mentioned here, the brushing teeth, and totally he knows sometimes how he feels and all. But the right mindfulness, you mean, I guess that the mindfulness with the correct view or right view. Is that so, Professor?
Sorry, yeah, exactly. I mean, now there's a really interesting sutta called, what is it? Unnaba Brahmana. Unnaba Brahmana. I'll write that down later. I mean, you will get these notes anyway. I will be writing the notes for you. Yeah. I'm a good teacher. Okay. So, but don't worry about the, all the notes. So Unnaba Brahmana. Now that is a sutta where a Brahmin called Unnaba comes to the Buddha and asks him, who is the boss of the five senses? And the Buddha says, mind. Mind is the boss of the five senses. Who is the boss of the mind? The Buddha says, mindfulness is the boss of the mind. Okay, now let's stop at that. Now, if the mindfulness is the boss of the mind, that cannot be something that you do with your mind, is it? So there can be, I mean, usually the secular mindfulness, mind is the boss of the mindfulness, not the other way around, right? So the mind is the Buddha says mindfulness is the boss of the mind, not other way around. Whereas now, when you are trying to develop a mindfulness through the mind, you are actually doing something else. Okay, so now it is so important to understand sati in the worldly context, in the lokiya context, and the lokuttara. So the Buddha taught both, actually, what is good in the worldly context, what is good, how to transcend that also. So now that is actually what we hope to do in this course. I mean, just tell me if it is something that interests you. When we are learning Pali, we are learning the nuances, we are learning the deep meaning, we are learning the authentic idea, rather than focusing on the grammar and trying to make sentences, etc. Okay, I can also do that, and also there is another. I gave you a book called Pali Primer. Pali Primer. Has anybody seen the primer? Pali Primer. This is actually, this third one is Pali Primer. If you just go and Google Pali Primer, and that is Professor Lily De Silva. She actually teaches. I mean, that this should be it should be the forerunner of this course. So if you are interested in becoming a Pali scholar, you could start off with the Pali Primer. Yeah, and then come to the these courses, and then of course there are so many other Pali texts that you could do. So in this course, this is a taster where we are talking about and trying to understand the dharmic concepts and put that into the language and explore it further. So Now, this is why the Lokya Dhamma and Lokuttara Dhamma, this is why I wanted to make a clear distinction of the two. And now another good example is this past, present, and future. Yeah, now that is in the world. But in the Lokuttara Dhamma, you don't find that. That is called there is a Pali word, called Pachupan, I'll show you how the word actually comes into me. But in the Pali language, you have this Atita, Vartamana, and Anagata. Atita means past, Vartamana is present, Anagata is future, right? Whereas in the Dharmic language, now Atita, Pachupanna, and Anagata. Yeah. Now, what you are really finding here is a Dharmic language. I mean, you have to reach a Dharmic language through the Pali language. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, those are a little bit nuts and bolts, like how I hope to proceed in this course. Let me stop share and ask if you have any questions. If you're not 100% clear as to what I'm really trying to do, don't worry, be happy.
You're bouncing about a little too fast for me. You may be okay for these young, bright things who are doing master's courses already, but you're ricocheting around too quickly for me to keep up with what you're doing. Like this one there, you've just gone through here. So what is Pachapana before we lose it?
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, let's say the Christine, okay, she's coming back. Okay, you have another meeting to go. That's absolutely fine. So what is Pachupanna? And that's a really good question. But we never stop to ask that question. Okay. So how I get to write this? Okay. So my screen got really.
So word file open කරගන්න.
Oh, is it? Okay. I have to open a Word file first, yeah?
Yes, then you can share and type it.
Okay. This may be I may have gone to a wrong file. Okay. So let me just get to a Word file. Okay. Yeah, but then I don't. Okay, sure. Still sorry. See, okay. So the word Pachupanna is actually Utpanna. This comes from actually Pachupanna is a one word, and the Pachupanna has been used like when the Buddha says the past is Atita, right? Atita, and then Pachupanna. and anagata. Okay, whereas in Pali you can have atita, vartamana, and anagata. Okay, so vartamana means actually present. So the present, that vartamana is a present. It is in Pali Sanskrit vartaman and vartaman, right? So, but you never find this word anywhere in the Pali text, when it refers to the existence of something. What you find instead is pachupanna. Pachupanna means, this is, pachaya means causes, yeah? And upanna means born. Born of causes, that is conditionally formed. Yeah? So when, something is conditionally formed, that is, the Buddha always uses the word pachupan, never use the vartaman. Why so? Any guesses?
Because nothing exists in that.
Exactly. I mean, when you subscribe to the existence, then you subscribe to the past existence, the future existence. You are subscribing to the personality view, what is called Sakkaya Ditti. Yeah? Sakkaya Ditti. Now that's a big word in the Dhamma. Sakkaya Ditti. So I should be actually teaching you some some alphabet and everything, but I'm actually coming to that. Today is just an overall lesson for you to decide whether this is the right way to go or not. Okay. Now this is a very democratic class where we decide, if you want a Pali language to be a Pali scholar like Venerable Vijita Siri, yeah, he's a Sanskrit lecturer. And if you want to be a Pali lecturer in your future academic career, then the path should be little different. But if you want actually to learn Pali, to learn Dharma, and then the path is slightly different. But we can actually do both. But this should be a precursor to even to learn Pali language proper, because is there a Pali language outside of the canon? Yes, there is actually, but very limited. Yeah. And the other thing is, people probably don't want to learn Pali for that purpose. Now, if you understood today, in today's class, two things. One thing is actually getting into the meaning through translation is not ideal. And the second thing is, Pali grammatical language is one thing. Dharmic expression is another thing. Yeah. So if you got that much, you have actually got something. Okay. Are you with me so far, or am I too fast?
Sunil, is it okay to really finish the last part on the Pachupana?
Yeah.
Because the last thing Keith, I think, said about it. I can't exactly repeat your words, Keith. Sorry, but what I still don't understand is if in this capital Dharma case the Buddha speaks about causally formed, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Then still, I didn't quite get the argument. So maybe you can repeat it in different words. Or?
Okay. Yeah. No, that is fine. So basically, there is a causation in the world. But there is a causation in the Dharma. If you actually look at the causation in the world, you actually, you find the phala. Let's use the Pali word hetu phala. What you find is the phala. Then you actually look for the hetu, right? Whereas in the dharmic sense, you see both cause and effect together, right? So let me give you an example. Look at my cup. Okay. Now this is actually what is this?
It's a cup.
It's a cup. That's right. So cup, that is actually linguistic term to denote some meaning. And when you actually want to say, oh, you can actually do two things with this: the existence of the cup or non-existence of the cup. So you say, oh, this cup exists. And then you actually, go from there. And then you say this cup exists to the extent that it is made up of blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this existence or not, that is called, ati and nati in Pali. Ati and nati. Now, the Buddha says both are, this is a duality. This is a duality. So when you actually try to get rid of this, you are denying the existence. When you are accepting, you are subscribing to the sassata. And the two major views in the world is either existence or not. Yeah. To be or not to be. Yeah. Now, how do we actually, now, if you want to get rid of the cup and then you actually break it, and then you say, this is Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, the elements, right? You're trying to, actually further reduce elements to something else, quark, or the, Higgs particles, or whatever you call it, but you never get rid of it. Yeah. So the Buddha found the Lokuttara way, a way of transcending this. The transcending is realizing the Pachupanna nature, the Pachupan, how, if this came into being through the causes and conditions. And there you don't neither deny the existence nor trying to get rid of it. Yeah. So so
if I may say, so yeah. You understand the cup in terms of all the causes and conditions, previous and future.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So for that is a Lokuttara Dhamma. So the Buddha says, one who really touches the Lokuttara Dhamma, he has the understanding of the Loka Dhamma. You see, but what we do is we are trying to understand the Lokuttara from the Loka. Through the world, we are trying to understand the Nibbana. The Buddha says, you can never do that. So I will give you an example. How does the Four Noble Truths is formulated? How is it formulated?
Okay.
Suffering.
Suffering, the
No.
cause of suffering.
Yeah, suffering, the cause of suffering.
End of suffering, and the path leading to the end of suffering.
Okay, brilliant. So, I mean, if you go to your GP with an illness, he says, okay, what's the problem? Disease. And then he tries to find the cause of the disease. And then what he does is find a way to treat the cause and then finally attain the result. You understand? So let's call it 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the Dharma, it is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 3, isn't it? Why? Doesn't that give you some clue? It should give you a clue as to you cannot understand the Lokuttara Dhamma through the Loka. Now following your eightfold noble path. Otherwise, the Buddha would have said, okay, suffering, cause of suffering, follow this path, you get to nirvana. And so for you to get to nirvana, first you need to know what it is, isn't it? So that's a bit of an example as to the direction. So this is little subtle and bit deep, but basically what the Buddha says is language. He says akheya sanyino satta. He said people are stuck with the language. Akheyasmin patitita. They are totally established in the language. Akheyang aparinyaya. If you don't understand the language and its limitation, yogamayanti macchuno. The evil Mara comes and get you. Yeah. So first you really have to understand how to transcend the world. So that is also through transcending the language, or the way to transcend the language is to understand its limitation. Yeah. And another context, the Buddha said, I use the language fully well knowing its limitations. Yeah. Tathagato voharati aparamasa. Tathagato voharati aparamasa. I use it, but I never, never, what is the word? Subsumed by it. Yeah. So I mean, in a Pali, when we actually pay attention to the Pali words and the context, then we should be able to get to the Lokuttara meaning, the world transcending meaning, rather than interpreting the Buddha's words in the worldly context. And this is what I mean by the text and the context. Yeah, does that make any sense to you? No? Any questions? Are you with me so far?
Well,
Julie.
what,
Yeah.
what is the context in the case of world transcendence?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. The context is fully well understanding the nibbanic experience. Only a person who really has touched the context. Context is that awareness, that wisdom, that is the sati, that is the mindfulness, that is and this is why mindfulness is a limb of enlightenment. Mindfulness is not something that you practice the 500 fortune companies in America. It's a limb of enlightenment. It should be enlightening. Yeah, it should be well transcending, isn't it? Okay, so stop me if I'm going too far, yeah, and fast. So the context is understanding the lokuttara Dhamma. So we are talking about the Dhamma with a simple D, for us to be able to get to the capital D. So that's the realization part. And so I organized the lesson in such a way that each day we discuss some questions, and then we get into the nitty-gritty of of the meaning, like Pachupan. I mean, the Buddha says if one understands Pachupan, one has understood the Dhamma. Yeah. So in one of my other classes in your university, one student asked me, how much Buddhism do you need to know before you are able to provide spiritual care? How much Buddhism do you need to know before you are able to do that? Any guesses? Do you need to know all this text, the sutras? There are 56 volumes.
So do you mean know in your rational mind or know in your heart?
Exactly. That, and that is, that is where the sati mindfulness is established. Your mindfulness is established, in that, once you, sorry, Mikhail, you were going to say something.
I just want to ask if this is, because I studied a bit of Mahayana, and I was wondering whether this is the pratitya samutpada, the dependent origination, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's a great answer, Mikhail, because you see, the Buddha says one who understands paticca samutpada understands the Dhamma. One who understands the Dhamma only sees me. So how do we see the Buddha? And that's actually our next question, today's question. Buddha, how do you see the Buddha? What is the way to see the Buddha? And Venerable Dhammarathana has already shown us the Buddha behind him. Do we not see the Buddha? Oh, Venerable Kusala is also having a lovely Buddha behind him. Yeah. So, how do you see the Buddha? Do you want to see the Buddha? Yeah, if the Buddha says, if you want to see the Buddha, see the Dharma. Because the great example is, now remember, in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, in the middle length discourses, Majjhima Nikaya, there's somebody called Pukkusati, a king. a king actually leaves his throne because he was so attracted to the Tathagata, the Buddha. And then he leaves the throne and he becomes a recluse. But one day he he goes into this ambalam, what is it called? Resting place in the evening. And the Buddha actually sees who am I going to help today? And he, in his net of compassion, comes this man called Pukusati. And then the Buddha proceeds and goes to the same place. See, the owner said, if the and then the Buddha said, can I actually stay overnight here tonight? And the owner said, there has been a recluse already here. There's only one place, one hole. So if he says yes, I have no problem. So then the Buddha goes there and they both meditate. Did Pukusati see the Buddha? Did he see the Buddha? Did he recognize? I mean, he must have seen the Buddha, but not recognize. Why did he not recognize him? He had not understood.
Because he didn't fully see the Dhamma then, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah. And then later at night, the Buddha actually, after meditation, he just say, oh, you have become a mendicant. And then the conversation started, and then, he started teaching a Pali course, yeah? And then later on, when he realized Dhamma, when he understood the teaching, he said, oh, now you must be the Buddha for sure. So please forgive me for not recognizing you. And I even address you in a lower, like a peer. So he actually asked for forgiveness. Now that's exactly what, only one who sees the Dhamma sees me. One who sees Paticcasamuppada sees Dhamma, who sees Dhamma sees me. So what is the best way for us to see the Buddha? Seeing the Dhamma. And to see the Dhamma, we really have to explore Pali, don't we? Anyway, I think we have been on the air for quite some time now. So we are going to, this course is going to be until, I think what your time, 10 o'clock, is it? Amsterdam time? 9 o'clock, yeah?
Yeah, it's quarter to 9 now.
Time. Yeah.
So it is 9 o'clock now, yeah?
But it's 8:45, yeah.
Okay. So why don't we will take another 5 to 10 minutes break, and then come back and then do a bit of practice what we have been talking about. Shall we? Is that a good idea?
I will need to go at the correct finishing time.
Okay. Yeah, the correct finishing time is 8 o'clock. Yeah. So
I'm just saying, wherever you are in the world, I will be going at the prescribed time.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So in that case, why don't we just finish the course for today without taking a break? Is that okay? Excellent. Oh, you guys are really good. Any questions, any comments, anything that you would like to tell me about our discussion?
I just wanted to point out one technical thing. When you write on the screen, wouldn't it be easier for you to write just like type it and then maybe draw on it? Because I sometimes cannot read.
Okay. Yes, I'll try to do that. And I think I got a pencil, but for some reason it is actually not properly working. So I'm getting used to it. So my writing will get better as we go along. Okay. Yeah. No, thank you for that. Any more comments, questions? Okay. Okay. Now, another part of the practical aspect of this class is to be able to, to be confident about, chanting, recitation, etc. So how many of you now, every person who really has some understanding of Pali should be able to do at least two things. Okay, one is salutation to the Buddha. Salutation to the Buddha. Yeah. Buddha is like a military person. He has to have a salute. Otherwise, he won't be happy. Okay. I'm joking. Okay. So I'm sure venerable monks will disagree. But anyway, can we actually can we just practice a little bit of a salutation to the Buddha? Okay. Now, who wants to go first?
I can do what I usually do.
Okay. Yeah.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang, etc.
Excellent. No, that's brilliant. That's really excellent. So the hung that there was actually, if I heard you correctly, like Buddhang, Dhang, Dhang. I mean that what we will be doing is we are looking at the Pali alphabet, and as we go along, we will, I'm sure because of your linguistic or language, I think your kind of a sound pattern that you are used to may not enable you to pronounce exactly right. Yeah. Like Sanghang, Sangha, Sangha, Sangham, Buddham. There is an aspiration in Pali. Aspiration is meaning changing. So, if you say, Buddha and Buddha, Buddha is, something else. Buddha, the aspiration is a meaning changing. So one thing we might want to do in our course is to practice little bit of this pronunciation. Yeah. But this is not to correct you, but it is just to get a meaning established, because the aspiration is a meaning contour. It is a minimal pair. It changes, like if you say Purisa Dhamma and Purisa Dhamma, those are two different words, aspiration. Okay. So anyone else? I'm very happy with Artha Mitra. We can do chanting together. Yeah. So anybody else would like to try your salutation to the Buddha? It doesn't necessarily have to be like, rhythmic or whatever, you just do whatever way you are comfortable with. Yeah.
Sorry, would you like my best Zen chanting of Theravada?
Go on then, go on. Yeah.
Buddhang saranang gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sorry, I got that wrong.
No, that's brilliant. That's very good. So I would do Buddhang, then Dhammang and Sanghang, rather than Buddhang, Sanghang, Dhammang. Okay. Yeah. But
No,
that's
I'll start off at the beginning.
Okay.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Oh, that's excellent. That's really good. That's really good.
That's Zen.
Yeah. No. I think there's no. I think the I'm very I'm very impressed that how you develop this skill. That is really good. Any more anyone else? I'm not going to pick on on any of you, so it's all voluntary. Okay. So the Namo Tassa. Now I think the knowing the meaning. We could actually do it word by word. Homage to him, the blessed one, the perfected one, the supremely enlightened one. So with that in mind, we just actually pay homage. Yeah. So anyone else? Should I pick on one of you? Okay, Julie, come on then.
I have no idea. Maybe if you do it a few more times, I can try to imitate, but I don't know the words, and I don't.
No, that's absolutely fine.
I'd love to learn.
And also mind you, in the Pali tradition, the way you say Namo Tassa, whether it is to a salute, you're doing salutation to the Buddha, but in a context like venerating the Buddha, there's one way you do it. If you're doing some other business like the Vinaya context, then there is a different rhythm. So there are different rhythms that tradition follows, but this comes from actually nearly about 2,000 years the practice. So, and I think one reason why I invited Venerable the monks, they are masters of this. So maybe I should ask Venerable, one of the Venerable monks. Everyone is so good. Let's actually ask Venerable Dhammarathana to show us different ways of saying Namo Tassa.
That's the Namaskara.
Yeah.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Wow, isn't that amazing? You know, that is actually quite incredible. But because there is a chanting, you know, in the chanting context, and in the veneration context, and in the Vinaya context. Now, those are the three different contexts. What we hope to do is, I mean, Venerable Dhammarathana has some recording. If anybody wants to hear them, and then just sort of develop a little, sensitivity to the differences, you can do that, because the chanting has the reason why. Now, do you know the Pali word for chanting? Yeah. Now, this is another story I'm not going to tell you today, but maybe we can talk about it next time. But it is called sajja, 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 sajjayana, sajjayana, sajja, sajjayana. Sajjayana means jha. What is jha? Jha is Jan, Chan, Zen. Come on, Zen master. Zen. What is Zen?
Meditation.
Exactly. Yeah. So, jha, jhayati, that is meditation. So, sa is collective, together. Now, when we are doing chanting, what we are doing is we are collectively meditating. We are not wasting our time. And that's why, people love to listen to chanting, because it actually, rhythmically, it takes you into a meditative, mind, isn't it? Am I right, Venerable monks? Yeah. So sajja, so sajjayana, and then there are some other contexts like invoking the blessings, how to bless somebody, and also inviting deities. Now, probably, maybe I could ask Venerable Dhammarathana again, or maybe another monk. I mean, there are all these monks, but I hate to trouble some of them who are all, in Sri Lanka, who's past midnight now. So probably the morning monk is still awake. Is Venerable Dhammarathana. Yeah. So can you show us? I'm going to share later on a chanting book where we just actually, identify each different context and what to chant when, etc., etc. Okay. So maybe you could finish this session by invoking or inviting the deity. Yeah. There are several different ways of doing that again, several different verses, but there is a standard verse. Maybe we could do Samantha. Is it Samantha Chakravali? So yeah.
Samantha Chakravali so atra gaccantu devata saddhammang muniraja sunanto sagga mokkadang Dhamma savana kalo yang bhadanta Dhamma savana kalo yang bhadanta Parita Dhamma savana kalo ayang Badanta
Wonderful. That's really brilliant.
And Kalagochan.
Yeah, that is actually now that is inviting the deities. It's called, you know, now you can see how it has developed sort of a meditative rhythm, and so the contextually also it's quite interesting because it brings in it actually the collecting the minds and developing the samadhi and the sound, how you just actually transform the context. So there are, I mean, we will be practicing. We will be like at the end of this course, every one of you will be chanting like Venerable Dhammarathana. Okay? So please, yeah. So any last questions before we end the session for today? No? Okay. So yeah, so what we will do in what I will do is I will type up the main kind of ideas that we discuss in this lesson for you, and then you can read through, and then we can actually start the next day with the short discussion of that, and then come to the next one. Okay. And in the meantime, please give me a feedback, about anything, any points. So you can email me, put that into the chat or whatever. Yeah. And I hope you enjoyed today's session. Venerable Kusala just joined from Letchworth. Yeah. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Thank you very much, Sunil sir. I'm Venerable Kusala from Letchworth Buddhist Vihara. So thank you for the day. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you.
Oh, excellent. Lovely to see you. As we go along, we will get to know these, venerable monks and other lay teachers. And the idea is at the end of the course, to develop a bit of confidence in spiritual caregiving. Yeah. Okay. So now that's all for today. Don't hesitate to actually pop in any questions, any comments, either in email or whatever. And I will see you next Tuesday at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
See you next week.
Thank you. See you all.
See you next. Thank you.
Have a long, healthy, peaceful life, everyone. Blessings with metta.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So Sumedha is Sumedha dan Nidhi Madhuda.